introduce Manijeh, please?
It's my pleasure to introduce Manijeh Motaghy, and I met Manijeh in 2019. She had um, a meditation class at the Sherman Oaks Library. That was the first of many classes. So, of course, I took classes in person starting in 2019, and then, of course, online. And at her home, she has wonderful retreats and classes. I've taken many, and I learned so much from her. Her new book that she'll talk about is absolutely wonderful, and she has so much knowledge, and I learn so much from her, and it's always a pleasure to attend her classes and hear her speak. And so welcome, Manijeh.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bonnie. I appreciate the invitation and being with you all today. I think I was here a couple of years ago, maybe now. It's been about a couple of years or so. And at that time, I hadn't published my book. I was working on it. It's really a comprehensive book, so it went through a lot of different editing processes for me to finally be, happy with it, to get it out. And so I'm happy to be here and speak with you a little bit about what I know, what I have discovered or learned from life, and through my um education, from my trainings, personal, development, and personal growth and leadership growth, and going through all kinds of different kinds of certifications, degrees, doctorate, this and that and the other. But the most important one of all is putting anything I've learned into experience and kind of testing it out for myself, and then teaching to others and seeing how others respond and how others grow and how others benefit from it, and then learning from that. Um, Going to 10-day silent retreats. I think I've gone to at least something like 20 of them so far. And that's a lot of going inward, exploring my own mind, emotions, and of course, with guidance, to practicing Buddha's teachings. And, just verifying things for myself, cleaning things up for myself, from my programming, from my upbringing, from all the things that I have learned and assumed and interpreted, and a lot of them were faulty, a lot of them were incomplete, a lot of them were biased. So, this is the life we live as humans. We are so dependent, so extremely dependent from the get-go, that when we are born, there is nothing we could do for ourselves. We cannot think for ourselves. We cannot act for ourselves. We cannot, mm, even if we have any desires, we are not even aware of those desires. We're not conscious of them. We can make sense of them. It's a really, really difficult thing. Uh, Probably most animals as well, but for us, I could speak on that. I don't know exactly how an animal feels. I could imagine from just learning and reading a little bit, but from my own personal experience, right? And all of us, we can see how difficult how difficult it is to just be constantly. I mean, over here in this forum, you're all here to learn, to share, to support, to grow, to understand, to be able to sort things out, to decipher things out. And so hence my book's name is called "It's Not Easy to Be Human." And, I didn't want to say it's difficult, because the difficulties can be actually sorted out. Those difficulties that we cause, they can be sorted out. So it's not easy because we do not come with a pre-designed, like an acorn would be, that you just plant any kind of seed. I'm Persian. We do a lot of planting and growing seeds, and from from the get-go, like this is right now we are in spring, and spring is the new beginning of everything as far as nature is concerned, especially those places where seasons are easily felt. So going with the process of nature, growing from the get-go, all these other animals and plants and other forms of life, they kind of have a formula that they don't mess with. They just are born with it, and maybe they need a little bit of assistance from, mammal, with the type of animal they could be, like birds or other mammals or other, feed types, but not much. Definitely plants and other things. They just follow what they're designed, and they go become a lizard, go become a lion, go become a bacteria even, right? Go become a fly, and that's it. There is no, should I don't know if I want to be a fly. Maybe I want to be a bee, or I want to be a snake or something. They don't have that dilemma. Oh, what's the design of the day? What is the marketing thing? What are the niche? I have to have a niche. I have to, thank God they don't have these issues. Of course, they have their own challenges, I'm sure. So, but the problem with that is that as we are learning creatures to learn everything from the get-go, even our attention. Like right now, if you're able to pay attention to, what I'm saying, for example, is because you have learned how to. You have worked on it. It's not pre-designed. It has to do with interest. It has to do with your having to strengthen such attention. Somebody have, taught you. Something has been required of you, maybe for work purposes, for maybe a parent required it, maybe the type something that was really hot and you learned that, oh, I shouldn't do that anymore. So a reason, a way for us to even build attention is not something that we are born with automatically. And so it's not reliable that we're going to learn it perfectly, right? Because different circumstances, different upbringing, and you name it, there are millions of other skills that we as humans need, and we really need to become good at them. And so for me, I realized that we go to these classes, to these, experiences, and hone those who seek to go and learn, right? Not everybody does that. Go learn how to communicate better. Go learn how to have a better relationship with your partner. Go learn how to be a good parent. Go learn how to be kind to yourself. Go learn how to. I mean, aside from all the expert areas we need for our work and for our profession, which is constantly changing as well, we are sort of never, just kind of like never enough, and we're always, and then we have to deal with death and aging and sickness and loss of things that we love and we cherish. So for me, I realized there is a whole sort of collection of really essential, fundamental skills and qualities that a human could really benefit from. And we should have them. And if we don't have them, it's not easy. And one of those is this very rudimentary, fundamental quality of understanding. We know the benefit of understanding, right? But we take it for granted. Understanding situations, understanding, like people who have empathy, for example, they're very highly in tune with other people. They feel the feelings of other people. They can understand what the other person might be feeling and might be going through. That creates a connection, right? That's helpful. Understanding is helpful in that way to create connection, to be more supportive, to be more together, and then some other people who don't have they're not highly empathetic, they lack that understanding, or they could have that understanding logically. They could have that kind of understanding at a different level, but they could be ignoring the need and necessity of such skill, and then we could build that skill, the skill of just understanding. And if we knew how precious, how incredibly useful that skill is, how to understand, how to go about understand different situations, different aspects of life, different, to understand biases, for example. We are innately biased. That's one of the things that our brain comes with. One of the designs that our brain comes with is biases, because the brain does not have a mechanism of fact checking. It has to rely on what we think and come to think it's reasonable. The brain takes it and says, yes, it's true. So we're kind of like even up against our own brain. There are mechanisms of being truth bias and confirmation bias, whatever that we already think is real or true. Anything that's going to confirm that, we pay attention to that. So there is the skill of attention, skill of understanding. Then there is the biases that are innate, that are, that run our lives. And then there's autopilot. I'm going without my presentation, so just if it's okay with you, I'm going to continue. So you see, already you could see it's not easy to be human. So we have this brain that works on being efficient. It has to be efficient so it can restore or preserve our energy, our resources, so it can predict to to act quickly before even we know it. Like if I'm trying to move my hand, the brain knows it way before I'm gonna think about moving my hand, because it has to put in motion certain functions to make that happen. So it's very fast, and it puts us on autopilot, so we don't have to worry about making a mistake or learning things all over again. Can you imagine having to learn every moment how to walk? It's not possible. It puts us on autopilot. But then also whatever we think, whatever we perceive, also becomes part of the brain's accepting. It accepts that as our concepts, creates neural pathways to think those ways, continue believing those ways, and those become our biases. And then we find ourselves in a conflict with somebody. Look, there are wars around the world, right? We can't understand each other. We cannot understand what is the need of this other person. What is the need of this other government? Why do they act like this? What do they want? How can we, that one skill of understanding is so key, that is so empowering, that could resolve most of our human issues. Yet we have it circumstantially. We have it, as about the things we know, about the things that we care about. Oh, I want to understand younger people. How can I understand younger people? I'm not a younger person. I don't think like them. I'm not exposed to the things they are exposed to, you know? And so then there is the how do I do this? How? So I'm not going to go into the detail of the how to understand yet. I want to give a little bit more background, a little bit build up the case about the skills, the fundamental skills that every human should have. That I honestly have come to believe that they should be human rights. They should not be for just those who go seek them when they need it. They should have be fundamental. So some of them, my book talks about these things. Some of them is attention. What is attention? How does it work? How do I really sharpen it? How do I take control of it? You know, what is emotion? How is emotion formed? Why does it even come up? Even emotions are learned. Some of it are because we need to, get signals from our brain that we are hungry, that we are in danger, that we need to act on something that is physically, physiologically necessary for us. Those emotions are from the brain. But the rest of the emotions, shame, for example, is learned. These are learned, judgment or feeling rejected, feeling afraid, a lot of these emotions are the way we experience them are learned. The way we experience them. They could be shared emotions we all could have, but studies have shown around the world that people in different regions from different cultures, they experience emotions differently, and it's not unified. It's not. So, so how do we deal with the emotions that we experience all the time? How do we deal with doubts, let's say? How do we deal with confidence or self-esteem or self-worth? There's so much that are learned through our cultures and through our different way of growing up that could be faulty. Could be, and the problem with it is not just that it's faulty, they become a part of our mechanism of how our brain takes over on our behalf. We're on autopilot, the brain is working on our behalf. You want to judge yourself? Okay, I got you. Don't worry. That's your new behavior. That's your new habit. And you keep wanting to not judge yourself. You go to these classes, they tell you, oh, loving kindness, this and that, be present. I heard the end of the beautiful, beautiful Tao statements that were said. I love it. I love it. We all love that. But then why do we forget? That moment, it feels beautiful and amazing. And we're like, yes, we're like elated, and we are, we feel elevated by listening to them. Next minute or next day, it's gone. It's not with us because I learned from my deep, deep, deep spiritual practice that something is missing. This thing about enlightenment is such an amazing thing that we need to get to. We want, some of us who are after it, we want to get to. Why can't we get to it? I realized, yeah, there are other things in the way. The way our brain is designed is not always working towards our interests. It's just working on autopilot. It's mechanical. It's mechanical. So we have to undo that, overcome that. But if we know that, for me, what was helpful is knowing, why can't I be letting go of clinging to something? That attachment, that clinging, that desire, that wanting things to go my way. Why can't I just be constantly present? And never be unpresent. Oh, it's my brain doing it? Until I have fully cleansed it from all the false notions, you know, and yeah, I wake up, I'm woken up, I know how to be to wake up in different circumstances and say, wow, wow, this is all made up, manager. All this stuff you're thinking is not for sure, is not reliable. I could do it, right? But then why can't we stay consistently and constantly aware and present and peaceful? And there are some circumstances that get in the way. So those are the other skills that we have to learn. That perception is based on conditions, feelings are based on conditions, and you know, there are conditions that come into our lives and they prevent us from being peaceful. Then you go and learn how to become peaceful. You meditate, you train your mind to come to the present moment, and then off you go. There is somebody says something that's against your belief system, and then you come back, you come back, you come back, and then you're off again. So for me, I think it's important. Parts of the things I teach is important for everybody, for a human to understand that it's not their fault. It's nobody's fault, however they are. Because there is a mechanical system that's running on our behalf, takes our assumptions, interpretations, perceptions as fact, and runs with it. And then we build the skill of self-awareness. I teach an ADHD class, and we talk a lot about self-appraisal, which means being aware of your impact on others, on yourself, because of that, particularly that brain type could be unaware of oneself, how they come across to others, how they impact others, how they're, what could be to others' boundaries. This person is not aware of, infringing on that. They could be negligent. So self-awareness, and then impact awareness. What is my impact on me and others? And then self-worth. What am I thinking about my own worth? These are all sort of hidden. They're not obvious to that person. The person's self-worth depends on how many hundreds of thousand times growing up they were, criticized. Don't speak loud, don't shout, don't fidget, sit right, don't play with your food, don't. It's all constantly don't. And then, what gets me all the time is a mother or a parent telling a 4-year-old, you should know better. Why are you doing this? You should know, or to even a teenager, you should know better. Like, really? How should they know better? How could they know better? Did you teach them when you always said don't, right? You're always saying don't, and you expect them to figure out what the do is. What the do is. Like this weekend, I was with my sister and my niece Sophia. She's so beautiful. She's 9 now, and I suspect she's highly hyperactive and all that. And so always, Sophia, sit right, wait, don't talk too loud, this and that, constantly. So I said, okay, please, can you pause and think about the thing you want her to do instead of don't do? What is the thing you want her to do? If you don't tell her, how can you expect her to do if you don't teach her? See, this is the thing. We are a learning machine. We know nothing of how to be a human, of what it even means to be a human. We have no skills coming into this world. We rely to learn all of these things. And then we are expected to know when we weren't really taught to know. Isn't that something? You should know you shouldn't be doing this. Oh my God. Oh my God, how difficult. So, self-appraisal, self-awareness, self-impact awareness, self-analysis. What's going on in my mind? What are you thinking? Where is this thought process leading? How is it going to pan out? Are you ready for what's going to happen? It's like I remember years ago, I'm looking at time to make sure I leave a few minutes for Q&A. I went to therapy, and this is many, many, many years ago. And there was some issue with my mom that I needed to sort out. So the therapist said to me, okay, she prepared me to go and sit and talk to my mom and tell her, Mom, this thing you did, such and such, time in the past, really hurt me, really hurt me. And it was really, so I need to tell you this thing because this is in between us, and this is making us feel disconnected, and there's the tension, there's me kind of having this bad feeling about our life and our relationship. And so she prepared me well, and I knew exactly what to say. And I went and sat down with my mom. I think I was like 35 or something. And Mom, I want to talk to you, this and that. And the moment I told her about this thing, oh my God, she became furious. She was furious, like, what? We always treated you like a queen. We always treated you, not even a princess, a queen. A queen, and I cannot believe it. You always this. And I'm like, but Mom, this one thing, I'm talking about this one event. No, she wouldn't have it. She ran out the door, and it was horrible. I was not left with what? Another today, present moment rejection, right? That rejection, that thing that had happened had the, significant amount of, damage or hurt. Now, not good. So this is what is lacking, even from experts of language, experts of communication, experts of feeling, experts of therapy, to not think about what is the response of the mother, what are the likelihood of how she's going to respond. How could you think that if this mother, for example, or a mother or somebody did not learn how to be kind and understanding and warm to begin with, and all of a sudden they're going to have it just because I'm telling them? Why wouldn't you, the therapist or this professional person, think this is not a judgment? This is like a exploration of reflecting on it. Why wouldn't you think about the mother's emotions? The mothers need to feel like, oh my gosh, she gave life for this child. Aside from the few things that she did wrong, she the amount of love and care and protection a child needs and a parent provides, it's unbelievably, unmeasurable. And for us to think that we cannot understand the position of that person and just go to them and say, you did this to me, you did that to me, right? So it's incomplete. A lot of these things don't pan out because we are not understanding different things about how life works, how emotions are, how a person perceives things, so that thing never resolved with her. So I was 35 then. I'm 63 years old now. However, I was able to resolve that for myself by going through understanding all these things, reprogramming all the faulty notions, and healing the hurt stuff, and really the traumas, and seeing what they do to me today, right? every time that a person is triggered, they cannot help it. It's unconscious. The brain brings this up. There's the feeling in the body, in the mind, in the heart, the associations, the images, there's a lot going on with this thing that's been triggered. How we can actually become free of these things. Just knowing that, be present in the moment, and even learning how to be present in the moment is not enough. We also need these other skills to be with the difficult emotion, to be with this pain, and be okay that it's painful, for example. And to understand, like when I explored all of these things about my, growing up with my mother was 16 when she had me. At the time in this culture, it was normal. It wasn't like a teenage mom thing that we think about here. It was normal for them to marry young and have children young. But she wasn't. She was a teenager. She was actually a teenager. She wasn't a mom. How could she? And then so that just never really connected with me. And then now today, I have to tell you this, that we were very disconnected emotionally most of my most of my life with her. But since I have worked with, really gone into understanding, working with my own self and healing and seeing and flourishing about it, when I see her, the last few years ago, I had my birthday and she was there. I hugged her and it was unbelievable. I kissed her from the top of her head. I couldn't help it. It wasn't anything that I was conscious of. I kissed her ears and the face and her nose and her eyes and her hands and her chest and her shoulders in front of everybody. There was a party going on here and there were people here. And they're like, and I couldn't help it. My incredible amount of gratitude, incredible amount of love, the love that I believed a child could not have the same for the parent. There is no way anybody could match the love of a parent. A child cannot love the parent as much as parent loves the child. I truly felt it for her. I truly felt it for her. And I still do. And nothing she could do could bother me anymore. There's nothing she could say or do that I could get triggered by or anything. She's the same person, by the way. She didn't change her way, you know? But now my body, my emotional body is, using the word resilient, my emotional body is strong, is mature, is healthy, is very, is at my will, at my service. I decide what should make me upset, what shouldn't make me upset, and why should I even get upset if it should make me upset? What's the benefit of it? How is it going to be to my interest? How is it going to inform my choices and my actions? So this is all a lot of different skills to build, and it's very, very, very possible. And I'm really, really grateful about it. And so I want to stop my talk and just tell you about my book, which is called, but it's not, well, I guess it's behind me. You could see It's Not Easy to Be Human. And it's got 60 lessons in it, those fundamental lessons, which are, I've kind of organized them into 3 domains. These lessons are in the domain of systems, natural systems, how they govern our lives, whether we like it or not, and the systems we construct. They're all in one domain. And then the planet, the environment, the nature, our relationship to it, our dependence on it, that every single thing is nature. These glasses, there's nothing but nature. Just because we, synthesized it or made it work or we meddled with it doesn't mean it's not nature. And there's a lot about, different types of anxieties, different types of, difficulties in life that I talk about in the planet system, domain. And then comes the human domain. I really wanted to distinguish that from anything else. The human domain, the mind, the brain, the emotions, the conduct, the happiness, the choices, we are so choiceless. We don't know, we are not, our choices are not ours. They are our brain's choices. And we could make them ours, but they are very, very, very much influenced by conditions. So the more aware you become, the more non-judgmental you become about these things, about nobody's behavior, even the villains around the world. I mean, look, I'm from Iran, and right now, if you know anything about what's going on there, it's been incredibly painful for me, incredibly painful. Because, people ask me, you still have family there? Yeah, 90 million. Which one is okay to die? How could I say, oh, my family is safe? Oh, the neighbors, my family's neighbor is okay to die? It's ridiculous. It's like, do you have family here in the US? Yeah, 350 million. You're my family. Yeah. Is it okay for one of you to get hurt? No. It doesn't matter you are my friends or family or not. So, with an expansion of that kind of connection, there's a lot of pain and suffering that comes through. And then I have to resort to my own sanity, my own well-being, my own, while being human and feeling and being genuinely alive, still be able to be happy, laugh, celebrate, And so there's a lot more I could talk about, but I'm going to stop and see what shows up for anybody. If there is any comments or questions, or, I just gave a little snippet of things. So I hope it's helpful. Yes, go ahead, Heidi. Hadia? Go ahead.
It's also a Persian name.
Yeah.
Thank you, Manijeh, for your courage to write this book. That's been my experience in my life and seeking. I've always felt I've been spiritual and close to God and Jesus and the Virgin Mary. That's what I grew up, but I'm spiritual now. But I would say I have a hard time being human, like reacting to things, feeling things, understanding things. So I appreciate that you wrote this book, and I appreciate the title. I would say being spiritual is easy for me. Like most people seek spirituality, I was seeking, teach me how to talk to people, teach me how to understand why do we have wars? Why is this? Why is that? So thank you. And then what touched my heart is when you said you're from Iran and everyone is your family. Yeah, that's how I feel. Like, who do you choose? Who's better than anyone? Nobody. So thank you for that. I appreciate your depth of expansion in loving and kindness and your intuitive sense that us people, spiritual beings having a human experience, we need to learn how to be human with each other. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. That's beautiful. Yeah. Look, no matter how you look at it, we are spiritual beings in this human body. We are humans who are, there is no, I have come to see through knowledge and experience that even love itself is not us. This saying that you are love, you are pure love, You have to know how to love. You have to understand love. You have to know that you cannot exclude. If you can exclude, your friends and family matter. People, when they ask me, my neighbor asked me, anybody, oh, you still have family there? Yes, 90 million. Oh my God. You know, so that kind of a love needs to be really cultivated. You know, before doing these loving kindness practices, which are part of my spiritual um, practices and learning, I used to think, no, I don't need to do loving kindness practices. Oh my God, that's for these other people. Oh my, I'm kind enough. I can't take it anymore. I can't be any more kind, you know? How am I going to be? And I realized as I understood and I learned this unconditional love has nothing to do with giving up something or you know attached to something or whatever. Is it has nothing to I realized how unkind I was. You know, like as a mother, you're willing to save the life of the child and you could scold them like, don't do this, don't do that, you should know better, you should. That may be loving, but it's not kind, you know. Goodwill is something that is beneficial for everybody. The first person who benefits from it, to have goodwill for anybody and everybody, is the person who has it. How can I exclude the villains who are killing? How can I? Because I know they suffer too. They suffer. They're humans. Look, they don't know they're gonna die. I'm so sorry. They don't know they're gonna die so soon, quickly, easily. They don't, they haven't got it into their head yet. And they're gonna cause suffering and they're gonna pay for it. And they're gonna constantly be in this very contaminated, un, you know, unhappy place, anxiety, stress, unhappy place. How can I judge them? May they be happy and find peace.
Manijeh, there are two people who would like to
Yes,
ask
yes.
you questions. You have 5 minutes.
Okay, go ahead, Melanie, if you would like to go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you how much I've enjoyed this presentation. And I'm wondering if your book is on Amazon.
I just put it in the chat. Yes, yes. I just put a link
Excellent.
to the Amazon in the chat. Yeah. So my book was published last year by Balboa Press in end of June. But just recently, I took it back from them because this book is very comprehensive, and it was supposed to be 4 books. But I was told by, you know, whoever that was the expert in these things that manager people don't want to buy 4 books. Buy, you know, make one, sell one. So I really, everything is really concise. And so the other 3 books are about elaborating and teaching the how to, there is how to in there. I have a 5-stage training model in there too, and with several other models in the book. But so I took it from them. I just repossessed it recently, and I just published it on Amazon. This is the link that I just published, and so it's pretty new up there yet. A couple of people have written a review, but I want to give this one instead of the one how that was being sold. So anyway, just a little bit about that. Thank you for, is that all, Melanie?
Oh, here it is. I'm looking in the chat now. Yeah, and I was just going to say, everything that you were talking about struck me. And of my 2 children, one is the older one has a lot of learning disabilities, and her learning was so different. The way she learned, she had to learn to learn.
Oh,
And that, she's very successful because she understands how she has to, that she can't go the way everybody else is going, that she has needs that she has to do it a certain way in order to comprehend it. And my last thing is something I live by that I can share with you is my motto is if it's not working, add more love.
I love it. Thank you. Yeah, that's beautiful. And never, ever, ever exclude yourself from the love. If it is love to others and harm to you, no, no, no. Okay, Christine, baby, go ahead.
Yes, and thank you, Melanie. I love that. Yeah, as you were talking, and thank you so much. I was thinking about, judgment, and we're now in this culture where we're canceling. I mean, we're literally turning off, and the door is shut tightly. People can't get in. So, I think a lot about forgiveness and reconciliation, and I wonder what your thoughts are on that, because we are in a culture where you're banished. Cesar Chavez was beloved, and now we have Kevin Spacey and Bill Cosby and all of that. And so I wonder, yeah, if you could just comment on that.
Yeah. Yeah, sure, for sure. So that this is the thing we are faced with. We are incomplete in our development. So the one best right now it's made it digitalization, made it so easy to avoid. If I don't know what to do with this is so difficult. I don't know what to do with it. I'm just gonna avoid it. I'm just gonna shut the doors. I'm just not deal with it because thinking they don't get it, they don't understand, they're never going to change, they're staying the same way, or ill repute. Some. That's why I always say I'm nobody special. I don't want to be anybody special, because once you are special, guess what? That you could lose that. It's just the nature of life. Once you have fame, you could become fameless, infamous. It just comes with it. It's like a coin with two sides. It comes with it. So having a balance between how do I live in a way that I don't harm? How do I live in a way that I really truly care for the well-being of another as it is the well-being of myself? Like culturally, these things are embedded in the Persian culture. Nowruz, which is the New Year, and the beginning of the life in spring and all that, one of the things that we do in many, many different rituals we have that indicates, symbolizes renewal as the mimicking nature. One of them is to reconcile. If within the last year, the past year, you had a falling out, you were talking to somebody, it is just very appropriate that you come to this way of opening your heart, understanding that, look, that person cannot do better because they're not developed better. How could they do better? How? Is it magic? Is it just because we want it, just because we expect it, that they have to do better? They can't, they don't have these developments. They don't have this opening of the heart. They don't have the how to understand. Understanding is a how to, needs a process. It's not just boom, get it. There is a process to get there. So I don't know if I'm addressing what you were expecting for me to say, but just knowing that these are skills we can learn, and we can give room to people to be imperfect, to be faulty. Look, it is by design, we have to be faulty. By design, our brain puts us on autopilot, has biases, has wiring, programming with other people are teaching us. We need others. Everybody is reinforcing. There's mirror. There's a lot going on that we cannot be perfect.
One last question. We need to go.
Go for it.
Just 1 minute. Okay, 1 minute. Thank you.
Lisa, go ahead, love.
Okay. The thing that you spoke about your mom really hit me. My mom was angry all the time, and I was angry at her my entire life. until one afternoon we took a 10-hour drive to Portland, Oregon to visit my grandfather who was sick. And she allowed me to just spew out everything that I was mad at her about. And the thing that I remember that just was so profound was, you know, Lisa, I've always loved you, and I did the best I could with what I knew how. And I realized at that moment, I had this epiphany that my mom is human and she's not perfect. And she couldn't show up the way I wanted her to show up, but she never stopped loving me. And it shifted my whole relationship with my mom from that point on. So I think it's really about the inside job and how we look at other people and our expectations. And I so appreciate you sharing with us all the things that you've learned and that you have this wonderful book available. So thank you very much for today and this morning.
You're welcome. I'll be happy to come back another time and expand a little more, have more time with all of you. It's been very beautiful. It's been a privilege to be here, an honor, and I love each and every one of you are my family. Know that. It's not a theory. It's I can't help you can't help it. You are my family. So
Manijeh,
yes.
خدافظ.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
خدافظ.
Have a
Thank you
beautiful
so
day.
much.
My
خدافظ
website is on the
Manijeh.
chat, and you could you could seek me out if you need to. Thank you.
Thank
So,
you.
Manijeh, if you send me an email with your book information and any classes or workshops, I'm happy to forward it to the group.
I appreciate that. Thank you so
Sure,
much.
absolutely.
Yeah, and
Thank you
if
so
you
much.
all subscribe to my, newsletters, you learn. I write things and the events and all that. You can get those too. Yeah,
Sure, yeah. So I'll send that email out to the group.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Great, thank you
Merry
so
Grace.
much.